All right. It's Wednesday, hump day, September 15th. What's up? Good morning, guys. We're live. Thank you for joining. Those of you that came on early, I appreciate it. Um, Still kind of waking up, getting my coffee in me, but looking forward to hopefully seeing a green day. You know, Clove started off pretty promising yesterday, right as I was signing off, and just more of the same BS. But before we get into that, I wanted to look at yesterday's watch list. You know, some interesting stuff. We kind of went over some pre-market gainers and top volume and all that kind of stuff. And I put together a little watch list to kind of check out. Um, the first one that was moving a lot yesterday was Life. We saw this action in pre-market, and it was kind of looked like a sell off, or it started dumping after that, basically for the rest of the day. Still up off the prior day though, trading at 856. Next one we had was ATER. Same type of deal. Looked like it hit its top in after hours the previous day. It was starting to dump off a little bit yesterday, and pre-market is what we saw, and it just continued to dump after kind of the whole market, really. But same thing, SDC, another big runner yesterday in pre-market, sold off. BBIG, kind of the same. Not really running in pre-market yesterday, but still was on the watch list because it had been a previous runner, and hit a low of 767, kind of coming up now. And then the last one that I'm the most intrigued about for today is SPRT. So, not sure what's going on here, but SPRT just had its, I think, a merger with GREE, GREE. And you can see that that's trading at currently $69. I'm intrigued to see what happens because I didn't hold any SPRT shares, but I did have a couple call options on the SPRT, and at the $28 strike. And this morning, those converted over to GREE options at the $28 strike. That doesn't seem right to me because they were completely out of the money for SPRT. And now, if I'm reading this correctly, they're $40 in the money on GREE. So, can't wait for the open to see how that gets priced in. Yeah, so one I'll be keeping an eye on today. I'm just going to go ahead and add that to today's watch list right away is GREE. And again, that's basically SPRT. So if you did own SPRT, that's what it is now. But my understanding was that it was going to be a conversion of shares, not one for one, which is what happened with my options contract. So, pretty interested to see what happens there. Let me see if it gives an explanation on here, actually. No. All right. Social sentiment on the day. Let's take a look at that real quick. Looks like we got GameStop, Clove, AMC, CCJ, which was one from yesterday that was moving in pre-market. And then SDC we just talked about. Looks like Wish is picking up a little bit, and also BlackBerry. Could maybe take a look at those. I haven't seen those on there in a while. Just see what they're doing right now. Not much for Wish. Looks like it's still bottoming out. And BlackBerry, nothing much there. Maybe there's some news coming in on those. Who's in the house this morning? Michael, Webistics, what's up? 6-8 Spin Drift, Louis. Michael says typical morning bullshit. Absolutely. Pete, Shrimply, Sir Lucky Charms, Zip Jester, good morning. So next I was going to check out that screener we looked at yesterday, see if we could see anything going on there. Let me see. B Johnson, what's up? Good morning. All right, so taking a look at the screener, top volume right now looks like IRNT. And if we pull that up, this is a 5-minute chart. Looks like it was trading at about $20 low in after hours yesterday, upwards of 26 now. And it's been on the move for a while. Was trading at 10. I believe this was a SPAC. Jay Herm, Josh Stewart, what's up? Kamal, E-Money, Charlie, thank you guys for coming in here. Appreciate it. 7-leaf clover. So IRNT, 64 million float. I believe this was let me see if I can get this customized. There we go. Yeah. But it's starting to move right now. Volume is still a little down from when it ran up on the 7th. But if we look at the volume today, or yesterday was 8 million. Right now in pre-market, it's already at 1 million. So its highest volume day previously looks like 33 million. So already coming in with 1 million right now, 64 million in the float. That looks pretty intriguing. It is up big time right now. If we look at the options chain on that one, IRNT, just to get an idea of what's going on. We got a ton in the money that weren't in the money yesterday. But there's also let me check out the trading ticks on this one too. Not enough options data there. So it actually looks pretty intriguing. I think obviously, like even with some of the pre-market runners we saw yesterday, you always have that risk of a dump. But if this thing, starts to take off, there's definitely some room to go there. At least let's see if there's an all-time high on this. I think it's there already. Yeah. The other thing I'd be kind of weary of, even if it was gonna move, is this thing looks like it gapped up a while back, and it came right back down the next day and filled that gap before it continued to go. So right now we're looking at it's gonna gap up here. You might get the opportunity for an entry here, before the next run, or this could be something where it hits a little bit of a gamma ramp right now and continues to run. Just something to be wary of, but it does look like a nice chart. And it's definitely in terms of volume right now, sitting at 1.3 million in volume. And if you look at, even the last couple of days, 11 million in volume on the day, 5 million volume, 8 million volume. It's already got 1 million in pre-market. So I'm adding that to the watch list right off the bat. I like it. I'm going to come back and circle back to that one in a little bit. Let's see here. Come on, I'm gonna star that and we'll check it out in a second. Same thing, Ben. This is so Michael. This is just the Charles Schwab top volume scanner. Looks like it's showing AMC. We already kind of know what's going on with that stock, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it. But it looks like on a 5-minute chart, AMC actually gapped down this morning. Was trading. I think it got up in the 50s. Yeah. Kind of topped out over 50 yesterday. And now and then it came, or the day before, gave a ton back yesterday and looks to be coming down in pre-market too. Another $2. So let's see, SQQQ, whatever. Not worried about that one. Let's see, ATER. This is a 5-minute chart. Closed yesterday at 11. Gapping down right now to 1045. Look at the daily on that one. Kind of the same thing. Exactly what I was just talking about with the IRNT. We had a huge gap up the prior day and a nice run, and then it came down and gap filled yesterday. If this thing isn't done running, I think that we could potentially see it continue to go. I want to say yesterday that was also one that was at the top of the FINTEL short squeeze list, and it still is. It's sitting at where we at? Number 3 on their list, 36% short interest, with the borrow free rate of 107. If we check Ortex on that, since we know it's a squeeze play as well. Ortex is showing a 55% short interest. Let's see here. 55%. Cost to borrow right now is 89. Utilization's at 97. So I think ATER might be something worth looking into today too. Let me see if I could pull up their options chain real quick. IV's kind of high. It's at 191. Looking to open up in that $10 range. And I believe that might be right around max pain from what we saw yesterday. So this is one of those plays where, like, if it was to get legs and start going and get some of these other options in the money, especially because the float is extremely small, 24 million, it has the potential. But we're on a Wednesday. Max pain is I'm gonna guess at 10, but let me look that up. Yeah, max pain on ATER is at $10 right now. So it's a Wednesday. I'm going to add that to the watch list, though, too. Being at the top of the FINTEL short squeeze report, gaining some volume today. It looks like it's starting to curl up here, like maybe it hit its bottom. And if it can hold above 10 and continue to climb, I could see ATR hitting a little bit of a squeeze. So I'm going to pick that one, too. Looks like right now on the watch list, I got GREE, IRNT, and ATER. Let's see if we could pull 2 more, and then I'll stop searching around. So in terms of volume, we looked at 3. Looks like BBIG just jumped into the volume mix too on the scanner. We pull that one up. 60 million float. Down to $8. We've been talking about this one for a while. Topped out up here a couple days back at 12. Got hammered hard, but the whole market kind of came down yesterday. Or for the last couple of days, the market's been in this steady decline. But max pain, I'm going to go ahead and look at, because we've seen a lot of these, highly shorted stocks and short squeeze stocks really get thrown down to max pain. It's 850 right now on BBIG. We're trading below that. It looks starting to pick up in volume, but I'm probably gonna lay off this one right now. I'll move on. All right, let's check the Ortex data. Sorry, guys. Since we know that's kind of that's a squeeze play as well. Looking at Ortex, 25% short interest. No updates yet, but cost to borrow is coming in at 115 to start the day, 94 utilization. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna probably stay off this one today. Okay, so that was number 4 on the volume list. We'll pull one more off the volume list now. We already took a look at ATER. Looks like Hut. That's a ghost favorite. Let's see what Hut's doing. Looks like it's gapping down right now. Coming off of 1036 close and trading at 870 right now. Wow. So it's going to come down all the way to here. Now, gap plays, when stuff gaps down, I kind of like playing these ones because it almost works the exact opposite, right? So if you look at, a lot of those plays we looked at yesterday, Life, some of the other ones that were gapping up tremendously, they end up giving back, right, once market opens. So if you're looking at Hut right now, and it's been trading up in this range, it's getting ready right now in pre-market to open up, if things hold the same, at about 870 right here. If anything, I could see it pulling back and maybe filling this gap here to 816. And that might be a good entry point to then kind of get in on a bounce back on the day. Again, more of a day trade. I'm not saying go long on this stock or anything like that, but because it's gapping down so tremendously, sometimes there is potential there to jump in and ride the wave back up, that pullback. So that's one I'm going to look at too. I'm going to add that one to the watch list. And if we look at volume increasers on the day, here's a new one, INDP. I want to take a look at that one because it came up on a different scanner that I have too. So INDP just got, looks like, notice of allowance for a strategic patent. If we look at the daily chart, what it's been doing, I mean, this is going way back, 2021. It was up here at $36, but it's kind of been on a steady decline. Had a recent high of 1096 and not too far ago 1786. But if we look at what's happening right now after they got that patent this morning, 5 million in volume, just hit, I think, $12. That could be a runner today. I don't, very risky, obviously, because it's already on such a huge increase. I mean, it's almost at 100% right now, 70% in pre-market. But definitely, increase in volume. If we take a look at what it's been doing on a daily basis, volume-wise, it's like nothing, 170,000 volume, 126,000. If we zoom out and go to like the highest volume day it's had, looks like 31 million, but mixed in with a bunch of relatively nothings. Taking a look at this last time it had a big jump, it went from 990, or actually let's even look at this. It gapped up from $9 to 990 and then shot up on the day all the way to 17 most recently. So right now we're looking at a gap up to 12, and the potential to probably continue a run today and then maybe give some back if history repeats itself. But the volume's what intrigues me there. It's already at 5.6 in volume, and again, just in relation, when you look at the previous high of volume was 31 million, it's on track to at least hit about 50 million. So Yeah, that's another one that I'm gonna add to the watch list, and we're just gonna cut it there. So INDP. Um, just real quick, we look at that short squeeze score, and then I'll get back to the chat. But so on the short squeeze on the FINTEL side, SPRT number one. Um, I did talk about that as soon as the stream started. That GREE, GREE, and is now SPRT. So if you can't find SPRT on your in your trading app or whatever, check out GREE, and you'll see the difference. It's actually trading at I think $68 last time I looked, and we'll check that out right now. And I'm interested to see what happens there. If you're holding shares of SPRT, how many shares came over? If you're like with me, I had a call option at $28 strike on SPRT, and it's showing up as a GREE $28 strike. So I'm really interested to see what happens when this thing opens up, because if that goes in as a straight up $28 strike, that means I'm already open and deep in the money. I don't really think that's going to be the case, but that would be amazing. Other ones we see on here, we already talked ATER, we already talked BBIG. KPLT, I think we looked at yesterday, and TKAT are the next two in the top five there. Zev's another one I've kind of been looking at, but not doing anything with right now, but just something that's been on my own personal watch list. All right, so let's get down to business. There we go. Why do I have BlackBerry up? So there's GREE right there. Yeah, it's trading at $70 right now. Yeah, Skip, exactly. If we open up and that's an actual call for a $28 strike, I am selling that, opening up at $70. um, because I mean that's just that's insane. To just all of a sudden wake up and be $40 in the money off of FD. So I'll be hitting the sell button real quick and have some dry powder to play in some other things. But it just seems too good to be true. We'll see how that happens. But I did buy that specifically because I think it was DeGen was talking about how the merger was going to happen, and something about the share conversion being 0.1 or something, and I'm not even really sure exactly what that meant, but I was like, you know what, let me just buy one of these and see what happens. All right, let's see here. So ATER, the ones that we said we were going to watch, that I liked, just to review, because anyone who joined late that I was looking at on the watch list today, and I'll just go through them real quick. GREE is one specifically because of what I just talked about. IRNT, another one that, I mean, the options chain runs up to 45 on that thing. It's a relatively low float. A lot of calls in the money right now. Kind of has the potential for, a little bit of a gamma squeeze this morning, and volume is picking up big time on that one. So let me throw Clove back up here. There we go. So IRNT is one I'm looking at. ATER, HUT, and INDP. ATER was a play that we were watching yesterday as well. It does look like it's starting to bounce back. It's getting some volume on the day. If this thing can start a run today, after, let me see if we can zoom out. After giving some back yesterday, a lot back yesterday, it was trading as high as 19 in pre-market or in after hours the day before. I think it's got the potential as well just to make a run just because of the options chain, but max pain on that one's $10. It is Wednesday. HUT, I'm going to be looking at just to play a potential, kind of a bounce back. Same thing that we saw, I was talking about, just as an example. Whenever you see something run up and gap up so high, like this is life yesterday, more often than not, two things are going to happen. It's either going to continue to run into the bell or it's going to give back, right? And that's what life did yesterday. So now we look at HUT, huge gap down. I mean, it was trading at 1040 yesterday. It's down to 861. At some point, and there's a gap in there that I was looking at. I think if HUT comes down and fills this gap down here at about 814-ish, or even maybe catches some support here at 847, but at any point, if it kind of catches support and starts to reverse, it's going to have a lot of room, to run. And that's what I'll be looking at there to fill that gap. I don't know if it's going to run all the way back to 1037, but might be a good opportunity to just jump in and catch some of that movement. And then the last one that I have up here for the watch list is INDP. And I'm going to start tracking these every morning. I figured from 5 to 5:30 we can kind of go over some other stocks. And just for fun, because I know some people are day trading. Me, I'm always looking for a little swing trade or something to hop in. So what I did was, down in the description of this, I think it'll be fun to kind of track too. So down in the description box of this video, I'm going to start writing down the ones that we look at every day. And, maybe we could reference back at it and see if we see any trends, see if we did find any runners. And then before the show's over, I'm going to, every day try to pick one that I want to jump on, just as a little day trade. And then, so my watch list for today is going to be GREE, IRNT, ATER, HUT, and INDP. There we go. All right, I just saved that. I'm done. All right, so what do we got here? Christina's back. Turks McGurt's co-creator. What's up? Nick, yeah, we talked a little bit about SDC too. That's one that we were looking at yesterday. Kind of ran up, gave a little bit back. I think we pulled up Ortex data on that already too, but just to take a look. 39% short interest. Cost to borrow's down though. Utilization's down. I think that one may have hit its pop already. Who knows though? But I know that one's got relatively small float too. So I want to say it's maybe like 100 million is what we saw yesterday for the float, somewhere around there. Zeke for Bleak, what's up? New day, let's get it. Yeah, Turks has been hot. He's been throwing out some plays. I was listening the other day when you talked about IRNT on the spaces. And speaking of the spaces, and I know I keep bringing this up every day, but there's just some absolutely, great minds on there. People talking Clove, talking about other stocks. Usually, throwing out some runners too. Which is amazing. Every day there's guys on there and people are talking about different plays that could potentially, blow up. And it seems like every day that someone's calling something out. So it's a good place to go to get information. That's on Twitter after the market closes. And for post-market spaces, I just dropped the link in the description to this video too to get on Degenerate's Twitter, because um, that Spaces is really definitely worth it. If you get a chance to check it out. And I'm always at work, so like I'll have like one headphone in and I'm just sitting there listening, and I never really get a chance to talk. Although yesterday they went hella long, and I was on my way to the dentist, and I ended up jumping on there just for like 2 minutes to speak. But it's pretty interesting stuff. And like I said, a lot of intelligent people talking on there. Let's see. Co-creator, I'm jealous, man, moving to Florida, but I never got to come visit you in Colorado, man. I was still looking forward to that. Come checking out a football game out in Colorado, and chilling with co-creator. Now I got to get out to Florida. Maybe me, you, and Scotty can go to Disney World. Dan's in the house. Good morning, Dan. Co-creator says, born in Ohio, lived in Montana, California, Texas, now Colorado, now Florida for the rest of our days. KLF, good morning. I don't see Synthaz either, co-creator. I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, man, I didn't see him. Joseph Scott's in the house. I recognize. I see you changed the name, but I recognize the little logo and stuff. That's awesome. D Train, what's up? Scotty, what's up? Yeah. So now, since co-creator is gonna be out that way, I'll have to get out there. Let's see here. So Clove, let's talk some Clove. Let me pull this up. I kind of got all this other crap on my screen now from all these other ones we've been looking at. First off, let me get it up here too. So we did have IRNT up here. That's the big runner right now. Why is this on 1 minute? There we go. All right. Present Minds, good morning. Taking a look at Clove. Price action has been absolutely terrible. Seems like, yesterday was a kind of an opposite of the day before, but we saw a nice dip off the open and then a run up. Yesterday we started with a run up and then kind of got killed down. I talked about this earlier, not in relation to Clove, but just to the markets in general. The S&P 500, or just, the Dow, all of it, has just been getting drugged down. And it's starting to get to that point to where I feel like it might be going on a little bit longer than, expected. This seems like a lot more than just this typical dip that you keep seeing in the S&P every, 3 weeks or so. And we're getting to that point now where some of the larger dips have came all the way down and kind of bounced off this, this 50 EMA. If we zoom out and look, we saw one there and there. Came down below it in March. And, some of the bigger dips back in September and November of last year, those were like, when people were really scared, like, oh, is the market. So we still got a little bit more to give before I think we kind of call and say, like, okay, the bull run's over. I don't necessarily think the bull run's over yet. But if all of a sudden we fall below this like 436 line, I'll start getting a little nervous. But anyways, I think that has a lot to do. I mean, just kind of shitty timing too with Clove. We had a lot of momentum, and then you see this happening, where this thing just starts trending downwards and it pulls the whole market down with it. Now, that's not all that's going on with Clove, right? I mean, we're also seeing an increase, and I can't even type in Clove right now. What the hell's going on? There we go. That's not all that's going on with Clove. I mean, we've been seeing ridiculous amounts of dark pool volume, and let's see here. Might as well just check it out now while I'm talking about it. I really love this chart exchange chart too, because it lets you pull it up automatically. But we saw 5 straight days of 50% of volume being routed into the dark pool. Kind of let off a little yesterday, 45 and 41. FTDs are being reported, I think today. Let me see if FINTEL has updated that yet. If not, it might be coming out tomorrow, but we're kind of at that point where we should be seeing it pretty soon. Fails to deliver. Yeah, those haven't came out yet. So I would imagine we're going to see some higher numbers, though, just because of the increase in dark pool volume that we've been seeing. So, and it's like, can they do this forever? No, but I think we do need we need to see a change. We need to see some more. We've seen, actually, I can't even say that. It's kind of, at some point these guys got to cover. I'm kind of the same thinking as, I know Al Trades has said this a couple times, like, these shorts are flipping to long, and I agree with that. But I think at some point, this thing will run when the big players are ready for it to run. I'm not really of the mindset that, I think that retail can provide some sort of volume occasionally. We did have that opportunity, I think about a week or two ago, when we kind of saw that we were like up at the top of of Wall Street bets and stuff, where maybe that could have been the volume that kicked it off and set off the gamma squeeze. Something like that I could see really playing in. But otherwise, I think this thing will run when it's time. Patience is key. I've I know it's been a while now. We've been sitting here for 3 months since June talking about how much this stock is worth and seeing it bounce up a little and seeing it come down a little. But at the end of the day, I think it can happen out of nowhere. I heard some people on Spaces the other day talking about, I think it was Ghost, even talking about how the options, right? Like, now that there's less options, market makers might allow it to run. But just my experience with this, like going back to like April, when it seemed like every month we had this gamma squeeze potential. All that's going to happen is, as IV comes down on the stock, like right now it's at 96, people are just going to come in and load up on more options. I'm not talking retail, I'm talking like big players. And so I think this gamma squeeze potential is always going to be there, but it is starting to die out a lot. Like, if we look at the options chain on Clove now, it's it's getting to that point to where October monthly is still pretty loaded up. The November monthly is still pretty loaded up, but outside of that, some of the big options expirations have passed, and I think it'll happen when we least expect it. At least that's kind of when it kind of came out of nowhere last time in June. I remember, we had a couple big days, kind of like we've had recently. Where we at? We had like some big spikes, and then we didn't really get hammered back down like this. But I just seen Joseph Scott said it too. Just keep accumulating, because I think at the end of the day, the main thing is nothing's changed for me. When we were talking about this stock here, in this 11 to 13 range, I was sitting here saying it was a buy, and I truly believe that. Like, I truly believe at this point, this is going back to June, talking about, that Living It article where they were talking about, that this stock should be trading at like $22 to $30 range, right? Or 22 to 25 or something like that. based on their lives under management and everything. And then since then, we've seen so much good news, with expansions, revenue growth, everything else. Um, there's just so much going on with this stock, and none of it's been negative. It's all been positive news and positive growth on this stock, on the company, on the AI side. If anything, I think more people on Wall Street are starting to see it as a technology play. Something that we've been talking about here going back to May, April, maybe even before then. And, so nothing's changed, I guess is my point. And so for me, I'll just continue to kind of add on. If I make some money today on this crazy GREE thing that's happening, I'm just gonna dump a little bit more money into Clove and keep adding up, because I really do see this company and the potential for it. So I know some people might be getting frustrated when you see other stocks start to run, and you're wondering why not here. But you just got to keep reminding yourself like what this stock is worth, really. I mean, that's for me. It's just okay. When I made a video, I don't remember the exact date, but I know it was like, I want to say sometime in late May. And kind of saying the same thing like that I'm saying right now. Basically, all right, so we didn't hit a gamma squeeze, we didn't do this, but this is an undervalued play, and I'm just gonna approach this like an investment now. And and that's when I really, really added on to my position. I went and loaded up on a bunch of leaps and got myself a nice big chunk that I just said, hey, I'm willing to hold this for 2 years. And shit, it wasn't 2 weeks later is when we hit that big run up in June 8th. So, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, if this thing doesn't squeeze tomorrow, or hit a gamma squeeze tomorrow, just know that, like, I truly believe in 2 years we're looking at a triple digit stock. I think it'll get there. I really absolutely do. All right, let me see here. BTFD's in the house. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. It says Gary Gensler lost control of the market with these short hedge funds. Yeah, I saw there was something yesterday that Gensler, I don't know if it was, I hate getting my news off social media. But it was like a article that I didn't even read, and somebody had ooh, my wife's sending me flights to Hawaii right now. Huh. All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, Gary Gensler, I guess something said something like he's got Citadel in his sights or something. And I mean, really, he's talking the talk, and he's been saying for a while. I mean, it's been months now where he's been saying, that he was going to do something, and, oh, well, it's only my second week on the job. It's only my fourth week on the job, and all this other stuff, and people making excuses like, dude, you've been in office for a while now. You need to get something done. So I'm just waiting, but I'm not expecting much. All right. Nick says take the Hawaii trip now and cover later. Yeah. Um. All right, guys. So let's check out Max Payne. I see Rick just pointed out Max Payne right now on Clove. And it looks like, yeah, it dropped down to 850. IV significantly decreased. Okay, so I mean, IV's at 96 right now, might be even lower when we open up. But if anyone hasn't seen that video I made on IV, T Train says we're gonna have to make us run wind sprints in here, folks. Don't chill out. I like that. Um, but so if we take a look at IV, basically IV is, it comes from the amount of open interest. So when you see people loading up all these options like we have here, there's still a ton, or at least there was, or no, this is today's volume. So I mean, there's a shit ton of potential here right now. But when you start looking throughout the whole chain and it doesn't look like that anymore, and IV is basically implied volatility. It's where the options market thinks the stock is going to go. And don't get me wrong, 96 right now is significantly low for a meme stock. That's still somewhat high for, your average everyday stock. Like if we look at Disney right now, the IV is probably like 30. Let's see. Now I'm interested to see. So, well, I don't have it up there. Yeah, 26. So, Disney's IV is significantly lower than Clove. So, I mean, it's still high. It's still saying that the market, that there's a lot of options being bought in it. But this was trading at about 160 IV earlier. So, it's starting to cool off. That also invites in, more option buyers, more whales. A lot of times, especially with what I saw with like GameStop in the past, was some of GameStop's biggest runs were when IV dropped, because now all of a sudden that gave option buyers, like big whales and larger players, the opportunity to come in and start pushing their weight around and buying options at much cheaper prices than overpaying 4 weeks ago. So it could be that this is the opportunity to strike. I wish I knew the exact amount, but I know kind of at that moment, like I was talking about back in late May, when I ended up buying a ton of leaps on Clove. One of my reasonings for buying those leaps was because IV at the time was significantly, low, like we're seeing right now. So who knows? It could, like I said, it could be something where it strikes out of nowhere. Um, all right, Dan. Have fun at work today, man. Christina says, put my big girl pants on and just place my first call option for February 18th. So, I mean, for $9 strike too, and if you're looking at February, that's giving you 156 days. That's 5 months, right? And at the $9 strike, I don't think that's bad at all. You're paying $200, and that's the way I kind of like to look at this, right? So, like, if you wanted to buy 100 shares today, it's going to cost you $830. But for $830, we'll just call it 860. You could buy 4 of these $9 strikes. Now, I would imagine by February we'll be trading above 9, and if we are, you're going to end up getting like dollar for dollar movement on the stock, as if you own the shares, right? You don't actually own the shares, but if all of a sudden we explode up to, from 8 to 18, that's a $10 gain. That's $1,000 per every 100 shares that you own. Well, now you own basically essentially 4 of them if you were to buy 4 of those contracts. And that's why I like to buy those further out options, especially like you're saying at the money. I think that's pretty safe. Or what I'll do is like really go with the leaps. Wow, they added 2024s in here too. That's actually kind of intriguing as well. I don't know if I'm ready to go 2024 though, but I mean, shit, when you start thinking about where this stock can be, that's pretty damn expensive. But that's 800 days away. That's more than 2 years from now. But still, to buy that contract right there for $5, it's like you could buy the share for $8. I don't really, you know, I could maybe see going there because I think that this stock will be trading for $100, 2 years from now. So if you buy the 20, you could buy two of those for the same price you could buy 100 shares today. And, that still got a relatively high delta on it too. I could maybe see that as being like a super long-term investment because now you look at like you just kind of set it and forget it like you would some shares and just let it sit there and you're again, I would hope the stock's trading above 20 2.5 years from now. But leaps for like, basically a year and a half out. Usually I like to go somewhat at the money with those, but I think I would probably try to do the same thing there. I actually like your February play, to be perfectly honest. I really do. If I had to pick one as like a way to scale into this, if anyone was looking to like use options to scale into Clove, I really like that. Because by February, that kind of gets you priced into a couple more earnings too. So not a bad play. Christina, I might actually, if this GREE SPRT thing works out for me the way I don't think it's going to this morning, and I actually cash some profit on that, I'm probably going to look to do that on Clove. Go grab some more of those to add on to my position. Perilous Jose, what's up? Ecom says IRNT, no shares available for short. You know what? We were looking at all these other plays this morning, and IRNT was one that I don't think I pulled up the short interest on. So IRNT estimated short interest 10%. Shares on loan 500K. Cost to borrows through the damn roof right now. 500. Utilization's at 100. I didn't realize that was a squeeze play, did I? Been talking about all these different stocks this morning. I put it on the watch list, but I just didn't realize that was one of the squeeze plays, or maybe it's not. Sure as shit looks like it is. And for anyone who's joining in late, so we put together a little watch list this morning. I'm watching GREE just because of the merger with SPRT and interested to see how that turns out. IRNT came up on a couple scanners this morning. And it looks like, was this the one we were talking about? Yeah, it's got an option chain that runs all the way up to 45. It's got a bunch of calls already in the money. I want to say, yeah, float on that's only 6 million. It definitely has some room to run. Definitely. So that was one of the ones that I was going to be watching today. Let me pull up Clove again. The other ones we talked about, ATER, HUT has been gapping down right now, and something to be looking at, maybe like on a pullback. And then INDP was the other one. So those are the five that I'm going to be watching and maybe looking, to day trade a little bit today as I find the time. BBIG looks like it's kind of coming. It came up and hit 850 earlier, back down to 8. Yeah, Skip, 2024. It just seems too expensive right now. So if you look at the 2024 options, I'll pull it up again just because today's the first day I've noticed it on the chain for Clove, but for that price, I'd rather buy shares, you know, unless you went out here at the 20. But usually when I go leaps, I like to go as close to at the money as possible when I'm going way out there like that. And to go out there and buy the $10 strike now, I mean, you need to get it past 15 at expiration, but that's 2.5 years from now. I'd imagine the stock's going to be trading way higher, but still, you're paying more than 50% of the share price for that. I'd rather just, I feel like at least just buy the shares. Although you do get the significance of like, IV increase and everything else throughout these next 856 days that could potentially make it more profitable. But I don't know. I'm not ready for that one yet. Maybe if IV drops a little bit more and I can get more of a double up, like get, that $10 strike at 4 or something like that. Then maybe I'd look for it just so that I could buy 2 for the price of 1. BTFD says G Sky popped out of nowhere. Holy shit. Yeah. You ain't lying. What's the news on that one? So, Goldman Sachs to acquire consumer loans platform Green Sky in a $2.24 billion deal. Looks like they just dropped a press release. They're going to pay roughly $12 a share. Yeah, so I wouldn't mess around with this one. So basically it's a buyout and it's going to be at 12. I mean, you can come in right now at 11.86 and make a guaranteed 14 cents, but that's all. So I mean, I would be careful there. I don't think that's not anything that's going to run or whatever. It's going to get pinned right around that $12 mark. Let's see. Just got off work at 6:30. Really waiting for market open so I can exercise this buy, and then it's off to sleep. Yeah, I think that's a safe play, Christina. If it's like your first options play, and you definitely gave yourself more than enough time, to see that thing play out. I mean, you're looking at 5 months. I think it's a perfect one to kind of, just see how things go. You'll notice that when like the IV increases in the stock, sometimes you're going to be paying, and I'll just give you an example. So you're going to be paying, let's say, a $2 premium, which means if you were to hold this all the way to February, you need the stock to be at 11 or higher than 11.13, right? But what you'll notice on a big run-up day on Clove is all of a sudden, your time premium because of IV might actually jump up to where, that time premium is like $4 or $5. And then it'll be worthwhile to sell the call contract and not even look to exercise, but then the other thing is once you get deeper in the money, you're going to start losing time premium too. So that it's a good way to I think that's a safe contract to get into, to just kind of test the waters and see how things work out. I really do. I think you picked a good one. JSOB is saying FCell. I kind of like saying JSOB instead of Joseph Scott O'Brien. But I know it's still you. I'm just so you're saying FCell. I don't see anything there. Let me I think I might have seen that on my scanner though. IRNT still looks like a play though. I really like that one. It looks like it's bouncing off VWAP. I think it's going to at least go up and try to test that 28.25 right now. And potentially higher. Do we see GME at sub 190 end of day? It's at 197 right now. Closed yesterday at 199. I still think GME is gonna pop at some point. I really do. I think it's gonna at least make another run up to 350. And that's kind of what I'm looking at as an exit strategy. Is once it gets to 350, if it breaks through there, I'll stay in. If it doesn't, I'm out. What do you think about life? So, I don't know. I mean, yesterday it was a runner, and I really was. I didn't play it at all. But I don't think anything was worth playing yesterday when we were looking at a lot of those plays. I think I forget which one it was, but Ghost tweeted something out. He had a green day yesterday. But yeah, I mean, all those ones that we looked at in the pre-market all dumped once the market opened. But I think that had more to do with just the overall sell-off in the market yesterday. But life, I don't really know much about other than what we kind of saw in here. And I mean, it was trading at 550 yesterday, or the day before. It closed at what, 10:08, and then ran up in pre-market yesterday to almost 13, and now it's coming back down. If we look at the daily chart on this thing, there's still a significant gap way down here at 560. I don't know if it's gonna fill that gap or continue to run, but it definitely filled the gap up from yesterday. It opened up yesterday up here, and it came down and filled this gap. Now it could be ready to take off again. Actually, I don't even know if we can necessarily consider that a gap, considering this big price movement. It may be ready to continue taking off. From a volume standpoint, yesterday it saw 108 million, the day before 114, which is insane, considering most of the other days were in the 100,000 range. And right now, Life's volume is currently at almost a million. So, I mean, it's still 3 times the average daily volume right now. And it's got an extremely small float. So, I mean, any sort of buying pressure coming into this stock can continue to push it up higher. I would just be, if you're holding shares, this is one of those things where it's like, know the inherent risk with dealing with a stock like this that's popping from $4 and $5 all the way up to these extreme numbers, because it can come crashing back down at any moment. Oh, JSOB, what's up? What's going on? Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. AL's in the house. What's up? Good morning. All right. Michelle, what's up? Chef Daddy, good morning. Good morning. Jimmy says, "What are your predictions for Clove today?" Man, I wish I knew. I really did. I mean, Max Payne this week's at 850. I feel like, we had the momentum to where we had busted out a Max Payne for 2 straight weeks, here and here. And we kind of looks like we lost a lot of it. We crossed under on the MACD. Um, I don't know about today's prediction. I think we kind of hold this same baseline that we had. I mean, we held this for what, over a month and a half. It just may take a little bit longer. I don't think this was our pop. I really don't. I think we got, sawed off and cut a little short, but I think we were ready to kind of get there. If you look at, again, I'll just take this back and compare. You saw a run up, a run up. It's kind of the same thing we saw back here in April, and then all of a sudden things started looking grim. I remember right here around this $6 mark, back then people were like, you know, talking about how shitty how like, oh, was this really the right investment, blah blah blah. After this, there was some FUD, and this was back when the uh the subreddit was extremely small, 5,000 members or whatever it was, and then all of a sudden, once we hit our lowest point, it was all blue skies from there, and it happened quick. It happened from 517, so in a matter of like 2 to 3 weeks, we saw this big run up, and that maybe we need to bottom out here. Maybe this is the bottom, but I do think that they can't hold this stock down for too long. I really don't. And I know they've been doing it for 3 months now, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect today. I mean, the market right now, the SPY is looking to open up a little bit flat, but if it continues to pull down and draw the whole market down with it, more than likely we're probably going to go down with the market. But there has been days where we've defied the market, where the whole market was blood red and Clove had its biggest days. So I really think it has to do with what players are willing to come in here and make a splash. Um, and that's why people say it all the time, and I know it sounds that buy shares, buy shares, buy shares, and I couldn't agree with that more. I play options too, but I play a small amount of my portfolio in options. Um, but that's where I'm looking to leverage, and I'm still holding options. I have some um, that expire, I think, next month, and then I still have some that expire in January, and I may even grab some for February now after looking at Christina's play. But anyways, I think it's just know what we hold. This stock is worth way more than $8, and so I'm willing to just hold on to it. It's even if I just look at it as an investment that maybe takes a year. I don't think it's going to take that long, but that's the mindset I think you have to have. SMJ, what's up? Oh, Ben, sorry, man. You know what? I favorited that comment, and I never came back to it. My bad. Says anything on Tradie Ticks. Let's take a look. We haven't looked at markets getting ready to open. Most of the Tradie Ticks alerts usually come in after the market open. But if we look right now, this is what Tradie Ticks was alerting yesterday. Looks like some puts on BEKE, JD. This is near the end of the market close yesterday. Calls on RKT. No shit. What's going on with RKT? That's a play that I've hold on, I gotta look at this now. We'll get back. 1 second, Ben. RKT's one that I was watching for the longest time, and nothing's going on there. Nothing's going on with Rocket. All right. I made some money on that rocket pop back in February up to 45, and I've been kind of watching it. So, it was saying buy January or leaps on rocket at the $20 strike. What else do we got here? So yeah, so trading ticks in terms of like it's AI and the trade ideas that it gives. Um, Nothing there right now in pre-market. Um, let's see here. Trading flow. If we go to the swing AI, the profit. Was also talking about Sava with 96% confidence. Uber on there. Yeah, I feel like it's more of a in terms of that like market open type of thing. I mean, there's definitely some trade ideas on here. There's so much stuff in here though. Like even if you go click on Sava, it's telling you that there's been bullish price action. You can kind of see the price chart here. Um, Sava I know is in the same space as AVXL, so that's one that I've kind of been like loosely following. We could pull up some trend lines, and it is showing that it's like looks like it's holding this long term uptrend. So maybe that it's just pulling back down, and that's why they're saying that it's time to get bullish on it again. That it did kind of fit this trend here. I also like these little simulated projections that it does too. But yeah, I got to take the time to really get into trading ticks and see how this whole thing plays out. Andy Smith says, "Have only bought stocks on Robinhood? Anyone know how to buy or look at a stock or option buys on Robinhood? I can't help you there. I've never used Robinhood. Looks like Skip helped you already. Ghost is in the house. Good morning. Cuckoo Bird, what's up? Is Can a good play? Let's take a look." Well, see, I'll just move Clove over here. So looking at Can real quick. It's, it's definitely had a couple decent days here. If we take a look at the daily chart on this one, it's kind of choppy, but it's still flowing. Looks like it maybe came down here and caught some support. It's got kind of higher lows, here to here if it does continue to move, and it looks like right now it's trading at 968, so it's looking to gap up a little bit. It's going to open up somewhere around here. But that's a wide range on this stock. That makes for good day trading. When you have kind of a wider range, higher highs, lower lows, it gives you more room to jump in and out and make some money. But without knowing too much about the stock, it's hard to say. Unless let me see if we could see some price targets on it. It looks like it crushed earnings for sure. Huh. You know what? I might add that to my watch list today too. Just something to keep an eye on. The only problem is, it was at 8, right? And it ran up coming into earnings. Right? Kind of fell off a little bit, but it's already this right here, this is where, people talk about that sell the news. Not always true, but this is what you're talking about. You get people buying into earnings, buying into earnings. We might get to market open, and all of a sudden you see this dump back down to, you know, back down to right here where they closed the day at before earnings, as if it was already priced in. Or it could keep hold the momentum. Um, volume right now, 350 in pre-market. And if we look at, on a daily basis, what kind of volume this stock usually gets, looks like 6 million. Without seeing this thing every day, I don't know where that pre-market volume kind of puts it at. But yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on this one for sure. All right. Ken Lin, what's up? Wabistics. JJ's in the house. Thomas O'Connell. Think Buffett was talking about Clove. The stock market is a device for transfer money from the inpatient to the patient. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's where, everybody's situation is different, right? There's some people who are 100% Clove, and that's perfectly fine. I think it'll pay off for you. I really do. There's some people who have a significant portion, like myself. I have a significant portion of my portfolio in Clove, but I'm still kind of playing in other plays. But I think, regardless, if you have the ability to, I think this is a stock that you just kind of hold and wait, because screw the squeeze, screw the gamma squeeze, all that. Put all that other noise aside. This is an investment play that I think has the potential in the short term to triple your money, and long term, you're talking 10 times, 20 times your money. So, it's just one of those things where just be patient, and I know it'll pay off, and and that's what separates this as a squeeze play from most of the other squeeze plays in the markets, is the value of the company. Um, and I really don't feel like, I've said this a million times. The stock will move when it's ready to. I don't think we need, retail will help us provide a squeeze and a gamma squeeze by running in and kind of adding that additional daily volume. But when this stock is ready to move, when the institutions and the big players are ready to let it move, it will. And as earnings continue to come in and beat expectations and the company becomes profitable, it will. Yeah, I think so too, Thomas. I think they've probably been accumulating. That's my take. I think that, they're gonna end up flipping along. I don't know if they're accumulating shares, maybe, but I think they probably definitely loaded up on calls. Man, anybody who got in on this IRNT, we saw this thing, we started talking about it, I think around 5. Yeah, around here. And just talking about, yeah, I think it's ready to go test this 28 right now. This thing's going to open up deep in the money on the options chain, and has the potential to keep on running. And I think the option chain ends at 45. So this might be an interesting one today. Tadeo, what's up? Good morning. Be patient. All will be good. Clove is a great company who got in the squeeze scenario. I'm not worried. DCA and down cost average into HUT. Yeah, I think HUT's on my watch list this morning too. I know I think Ghost is joining us a little late, but if he's still there, so I put HUT on my watch list just as like an opportunity for me to jump in because I didn't get in earlier, and I think we might see some pop up in the opposite direction. Um, so if you can't find GREE yet, it's probably it'll probably open up at 6:30 a.m. But that's SPRT. So if SPRT is still moving on your with whoever you trade through, that's probably what's going on. DJ TARDIS, what's going on? Thoughts on CCJ? CCJ was on yesterday's watch list, right? That was one that we were going to keep an eye on, or no? Okay, I remember we looked up CCJ yesterday because of the social sentiment, but I didn't put it on the watch list. I don't know what I saw there that I didn't like, but this was yesterday's pre-market. Some nice opportunities there to make some money during the day yesterday. Or maybe it was just because it was running so damn high. And it had some significant gaps in it. I don't know enough about CCJ. I know on the social sentiment side, it's still up there. Like we looked up earlier, the top tickers at the time, and it was number 4 behind GME, Clove, and AMC. But I haven't done any due diligence into it at all. And my phone is going crazy right now. Cafe Insomniac just pointed out 1 million shares just added to bar on Clove. Let's check that out. I haven't even looked at iBorrowDesk in a long time. There we go. Clove. Yeah. So it does. Looks like some shares. So here's the thing with that though, right? Like it could be that somebody covered. And then are just returning the shares, or it could be that, someone else is lending shares out now. It's really hard to say. And that's what I mean. It's like on both sides of the coin. I'm really starting to dislike these websites, because it's like you look at one like iBorrowDesk, and they're showing you how many shares is available, which is cool. But that's all the information they're giving us. I'd like to know out of how many. Like, okay, we have 1.8 million available out of what? 3 million? Cool. And now if all of a sudden it ends up going from 1.8 million out of 4 million, then we know that more shares became available and not necessarily that shares were returned, it kind of just give us a little bit more in-depth look. Same thing with Ortex. At least Ortex shows us the number of shares on loan, which is cool, but then Ortex doesn't show us how many are available. So we're getting like different data from both places, and I think, to me, and this is one thing that I'll say, like with Ortex, and I do think that Clove and even AMC and GameStop to that are a little bit different than some of these other plays, and the fact that that we've seen all this crazy market manipulation going on with them, and because they've been in the spotlight, and drawn so much attention, I think they're going to greater lengths to kind of hide what the true short interest of these stocks are. But when you look at something like SPRT, for instance, which I know is probably a bad example just because it's no longer SPRT, but 97% short interest, 356 cost to borrow, 96 utilization. You start looking at these numbers and it's like, shit, any sort of buying pressure should move this stock. And I just, starting to wonder, like with the accuracy of this data, and I know I shouldn't say start to wonder because I know we've been talking about this for months, but it's just like, we're only seeing what's being reported and we're only seeing a very small portion of the picture, right? Like imagine, and I don't even know what the percentage is, but when we look at this Ortex data and it's giving us these numbers, this could only be 20% of what's of the information out there. So then if you factor that in with everything else, you know, this 97 is actually only putting it at 20% of the free float. So it's just a way of gauging, I guess, and not necessarily, finite. Um, Danny says, which application? So this is my Street Smart Edge. And I may end up just charting exclusively through Street Smart Edge. Anyone who's been with me on the stream for a while, this is through Charles Schwab. I've gone through so much different software. TD Ameritrade, which is this is the Thinkorswim app over here, is something that I've always used. I mean, for years. And I got so comfortable with it, but Charles Schwab gives you way more market depth, right? Especially on the level 2 side and everything else. And so I ended up trading out of Charles Schwab more often too because of that. And but Charles Schwab app also isn't as it doesn't take up as much RAM or memory on your computer. So like when I go to work, I open up this Charles Schwab app. And so now I'm getting used to charting on it. And eventually I'm probably just going to make the switch and just be charting exclusively like through this software and just do some custom layouts and stuff and just use this. But for right now, I just feel comfortable bouncing around between stocks over here. And I just leave this on in the background for the level 2 data. Looks like we got the bell coming in 2 minutes. Good morning, Faith. What's up? Yeah, so Faith, I've been following VIH. We did have, I'll pull it up right here too. So VIH, the intriguing, I forget the name, but I think or the date, but I think it's like next Wednesday. Is kind of now they haven't announced anything, but yeah, we saw this nice little spike here yesterday. I thought maybe it was ready to go. And then it kind of fell back down. I was looking at Ortex on that earlier, and it's still definitely sitting there in that squeeze range, 42% short interest. Cost to borrow's down, but utilization's picking up, and so it's got that short interest. But again, what I like about VIH is 1023 right now. You're 23 cents away from NAV, away from, this is a SPAC. So $10 is, basically what it's worth right now. So you're only paying 23 cents above, basically, that's your bottom. So that's your risk, is 23 cents when you buy this. And it does have this squeeze potential involved in it. And while the company, I don't think they've announced a merger date yet, just based on all the paperwork and everything that they have, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it could potentially be as early as next Wednesday. So, my play on this is kind of like, okay, well, what if we can get, why is my news ticker not pulling up right now? I was going to try to pull up VIH and see what kind of news we had there, but, kind of what I'm looking at there. Did my thinker swim? Huh. My thinker swim disconnected. That's what's going on. All right, so I'm just going to move this off to the side. And we'll take a look at this for Clove right now. That's crazy. Man, let me exit that out. Right as I was talking about not using Thinkorswim anymore, it just absolutely dumped on me at the bell. That's crazy. So this GREE options right now, as I pull it up, yeah, I don't get that. It's deep in the money, and it's only giving me like 32 cents on it. So I'm gonna sit back and see what happens with this. I mean, shit, worst case scenario, I'll just hold it and exercise it at 23 cents. Yeah, Nick, I was just talking about that same thing. I don't really understand what's going on with GREE because, you know, I know it's SPRT, but like, even if you look at the options chain on GREE right now, it's saying that you could buy a $28 strike for 65 cents. And that's in the money right now. So something's messed up there. But I mean, shit. If you think it's gonna hold, I don't want to give anybody any bad advice or anything right now. This obviously isn't financial advice, but I mean, shit. I'm looking at a stock that's trading at $54 right now that you can legit go in and buy right now. There's got to be something wrong there. The $10 strike for 50 cents? I mean, that can't be right. Oh, it says adjusted. Huh. Yeah, don't pay attention to what I just said because I think I'm wrong on that one. All right, here we go. So it looks like I got this back up. I don't know what the hell was going on there. IRNT is popping to shit $30 right now. So if we look at the GREE options chain, this is what I was looking at, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. But 11 out of 100. Got it. So they're pricing it the same way. Okay, because I was looking at this like, so you're getting 11 shares, basically, and that's why it's priced that way. I was just looking at this like, damn, if you're looking at this option chain right now, you know, the $28 strike, 65 cents, and the stock's trading way ahead of that, but there's a conversion rate on it. So if you look at what's actually in the money, it's as if like the $6 strike's in the money. Kind of confusing, but I understand what's going on there now. So yeah, stay away from those options, I would say. IRNT looks like the big winner right now so far this morning. Just looking around. BBIG starting to pop a little bit. Damn, Zoom's continuing to fall. AVXL's continuing to fall. AMC looks like it's down 3% right now on the day. All right. Scotty. Don't let it get to you, Scotty. Having some work issues. Oh man, hopefully we'll get some green going in there and bring you up. Good morning, MMGA. What's up? Um. Okay, so Christina said her TD froze too. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That was just weird. I was trying to pull up a news article on VIH for Faith, and all of a sudden my it just canceled out on me. Um. Oh, froze again. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, Faith, I think VIH, like I said, it's safe here. I've been waiting for the company to announce like when the merger is actually going to take place. There's a lot of speculation that it could be next week, and that's why, you know, I think now's a good time because if all of a sudden they announce something and this thing starts moving, it does have that high short interest. So all of a sudden now, what could have ended up being a $2 move could end up turning out to be a $10 move, because of the short interest, the options flow, and everything else. And I just see it, from the risk side. You get in right now at 10.26. That's only 26 cents above NAV, so you're not like extremely overpaying for it. Low risk, high reward. Um, yeah, I'm having some issues here too. I don't know what the hell's going on. Did IRNT get halted? Yeah, it looks like it did. So IRNT's in a halt. Clove is getting absolutely hammered right now. And so is GREE. Started at 91 down to 51. All right. Just gonna keep this one on 1 minute since it's frozen right now, so we can kind of see what's going on here. And thank God I have until February on this call option. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and that's why I like giving myself 5 months, or give yourself the time. At least 90 days. But a lot of times I'd say that's on the short end. That's 3 months, right? Um, 3 to 6 months, I would say on stuff that I really think is going to move short term. But if it's a longer play, I like to go six to 12, somewhere in there. For like more of a something I'm considering more of an investment. And IRNT is continuing to move. It just came out, and this is what I was talking about with IRNT this morning was just this options chain on it. Like, it had gapped up so much that all of this was in the money, and that's going to continue to push us up. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. It's really got the potential to kind of blow out and hit 45 this morning. What do options look like on that? See, that IV's insane though. There's no way I'm paying $5 for a $31 strike that expires in 2 days. um, that's definitely something I'd be going into with shares right now. Oh, did INDP start taking off too? That was another one on the watch list this morning. Nice. Well, today's watch list is doing a lot better than yesterday's. I'll tell you that much. What else do we have on there? So we said GREE, IRNT, ATER. Nothing doing there. HUT and INDP. Yeah, and that's when we were talking about HUT too. Was that maybe once it finds its bottom and starts climbing, and it looks like it is. I I still think even right now this is a good opportunity to jump in HUT just because, again, huge gap down, right? So that gives you a lot of momentum, a lot of room to run up. I don't know if it's going to fill the entire gap, but definitely some room to run there. It's already crossed back above VWAP. Um, you know, take a look at this one on a minute chart. Looks like it found some support here on this EMA. It's starting to bounce back up, potentially break through this um, you know, all right, here, let me see what's going on. So Clove, a lot of volatility right now. That last 5 minute candle, I'm gonna go ahead and go 1 minute there too, just so we can really see what's happening. Kind of came down and hit low 821. Pushed above VWAP on that last 1 minute candle and got slammed back down. Too many lines. There we go. Oh man, tired this morning. So no IRNT in Canada. Okay, that's weird. I don't know how that works out there, but looks like HUT's getting ready to run, and Clove's getting a nice little pop too. What is? How we doing on volume? 1.2 million right now. Not much. There we go. Michael says you need a thermos, bro. I don't know if you were on early when I talked about that the other morning, but I brought 2 cups of coffee with me, the other morning, and I was like, man, I need my coffee. I know Michael told me to get a thermos. I still haven't, but I figured the next best thing would be, grabbing 2 cups. So, Danny White says, Coach, do you really think Clove will fall into the 7s like people are saying? Gonna throw the kitchen sink at it if it does. I don't think so. I know I've heard other people say that and based on that analyst price target, but I don't see it. I don't want to deter away from this 5 minute chart, but again, this was like the whole month of July and even into August, and we held $8 for so long. I think we only fell below $7 like 2 times through that whole like 2 month span. So just because one analyst comes out with, a claim that the stock should be at 7 with absolutely nothing to back it up, I don't think it's going to fall back down there. I think that's FUD. I think that's, maybe something to like scare people away. But we've seen, every time it got down there to that $8 mark, what happened? Institution after institution after institution came in and kept buying. We were seeing weeks and weeks and weeks of institutions coming in and giving us that support around the $8 mark. So I don't see it. I don't see us falling down to 7 at all. I can see us touching below 8 intraday, maybe even like on a heavy short attack day or something, closing below 8, kind of what we saw. But, you know, I think we're in this range now where we're so oversold. I don't see us going back down. All right. Well, hey guys, as much as I love doing this every morning, I'm gonna go get the kids ready for school and everything and send them off. Um, Hope you're enjoying the show. For those of you that are kind of catching late, every morning, well, not every morning, yesterday and today, yeah, INDP is taking off right now. I started doing it yesterday, and I think it went pretty cool. I may even start a little bit earlier, maybe 4:45. Not because I want you guys to get up early, but basically what I did was, um, I just been kind of going through some scanners and trying to pick out like a watch list. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's stuff that I'm gonna jump into or that you should jump into, but at least we can kind of see what runs. Yesterday, there were some big pre-market runners that fell. Today we saw IRNT was one. I mean, and this thing is moving. INDP was one, and these were ones we were talking about at 5 a.m. HUT was another one. So kind of came up with a watch list of stuff to kind of, either, just to jump in for day trades early in pre-market. And so my goal is to just do it right at the beginning of the show. And that way, even if you guys jump on here late, you can go back and watch that like first 15 minutes before joining us live and get an idea of what the watch list is. And even if you come on later in the day. So hopefully you guys like it. If you do, I'll continue to do it. But it also helps me kind of stay on top of the markets. Webistics, thank you so much for the Coach P Thermos Fund. Right on. Now I gotta buy a thermos. I absolutely will. Um, now you put it on me. I gotta do it. I saw Michael said he told me 2 years ago to get one. I know I'm slacking. I might have to go grab one today now. You're gonna force me to do it. But thank you again. I appreciate it. Narwhal, what's up? And Perilous Jose, I'm not skipping your comment. Would you ever share a study that you use for Thinkorswim? Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to put something like that together, go over like the different studies, and I wrote that down as a note that Lisa had pointed out the other day, like maybe make a chalk talks on scanners and stuff like that. And I'll definitely start. I'm so like right now, football season. I got my kids' flag football season, work. Um, I'm coaching. I'm also finishing my dissertation. I feel like once school came back in, I lost a lot of free time that I was using to make all these videos and do all this stuff. So I absolutely will get to it though. And I'll start putting more content out. I appreciate you guys coming on here and spending the morning with me. I really look forward to it. Have a great day. Good luck in the markets today. Hope everybody makes some money, and hopefully we get Clove bouncing green right now and continue to roll. And, we can come back on here tomorrow and be celebrating the green day. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.